Hi guys. Okay, it's 2 a.m. I can't sleep. I had my first chemo treatment yesterday, which I slept through. I just went to sleep. It was put in here in my hand, which did cause a couple of problems. I got a bit of blood clotting. It was extremely painful place to put in a cannula. But I don't know if it was the stress or the anxiety. I did take, I'd been allowed by my doctor to take a Valium prior to it, whatever it was. And I think my body just shut down from all the stress. I'd had the radiation first, and then because it was the first chemo, I was told it could last between 3 and 6 hours. Now that caused quite an interesting psychological, and it was psychological, it wasn't physical problem for me, but I've not heard anyone, no one's mentioned it to me, no one's talked to me about it. But the idea of being, because it's chemo, you cannot leave the room that you're put in, or you cannot leave the seat that you're put in. You can stand up, sit down within your own area, but you can't. You've got chemotherapy attached to you. You cannot go anywhere for the whole period of time, and I just became starving. I was so hungry, which is really strange because I'm not food motivated. I never have breakfast. I seldom have lunch. I usually just have dinner. But it was like 10:30 in the morning. My appointment was at 10. But 10:30 in the morning, I was starving. I wanted food. And I wanted food, and I wanted food, and I wanted food. And I'm pretty sure it was a psychological, my brain telling me I couldn't go anywhere, so I couldn't feed. That's my dishwasher in the background. I couldn't feed myself, and the worry of being stuck in this room, which I really appreciate. But I had a room, I had my own toilet. Um, it was the nurses were amazing. Maybe not so much for one. No, she was the one that put the cannula in. So, one of the things with like we are so blessed living in Australia. We have a healthcare system second to none in the world. So, although the treatment's not costing me the thousands of dollars as if I lived in America or if I lived in another country, prices do start to clock up. So, I was there from quarter past 9 in the morning because I had to have my radiation first. Then at 10 o'clock, I went from the chemo. That's a long time in parking. Now, if you're in that position, it would work out to be about $25 for that length. If you're in a position, especially at Fiona Stanley Hospital in Western Australia, anything over 2 hours that they're going to keep you in, you can get an addition which taps out your parking to a much lower price, so it's a lot cheaper. Go ask someone from the front desk of whatever department if it's more than 2 hours as a patient, not as a visitor but as a patient. You can get this bit that goes with your parking pass, and that brings your price down. So what I came home and did was I made up little bags of nibbles that I can just throw into my bag before I go out. And hopefully that will stop that paranoia of I'm in a room and I'm starving. So I have random little things like walnuts. I love walnuts, dried apricots, and the things I've chosen are filling rather than traditional snacky. So I have almonds, and I have Brazil nuts. Now these are all really filling. You have two or three, and you feel like you've eaten. The other thing that I got was some crystallized ginger. I know that is an acquired taste. People either love it or hate it. Personally, I love it. Um, and crystallized ginger is extremely effective on nausea. Any ginger is extremely effective on nausea. So I have made my choices based on what's going to be filling, what's going to take that craving away, what's going to help my headspace in the fact that I am essentially attached to a pole for several hours. Thankfully, chemo's only once a week. But one of the things I've noticed through all our appointments and visits is the cost of food, because we're there so long. 9 times out of 10, we're crossing over a meal time, and I know it sounds strange, but would you really want to eat food off a chemo ward? Off a radiation ward? I know that it doesn't sit comfortably with me, even though I'm in there having treatment. There's just something in my head that goes, no, don't want to do that. So this way, they're all sealed. I've taken the air out of them so that they stay fresh. I've actually made up a whole box full, so I can take one or two to the radiation, which is only a short period of time, but like depending on when the appointment time is, because the appointment time isn't the same every time. So if it was always 9 o'clock in the morning or 9:30 in the morning, I know that I don't need food, but it's not. Sometimes it's 9:30, 10:30, 4 o'clock. So this way I can, if it's at a time where I'm going to be peckish, but I've got something that's cost me next to nothing because I bought it in bulk and I've portioned it all up. Some portions are bigger, some other portions are littler, depending on what appointment I'm going to. Nobody mentioned this to me. Nobody said, you're tied to a wall, you're going to get hungry, bring food. So buying food is expensive. A lot of hospitals mark up prices, a bit like airports. So it is something that I would like to have been told. So as I posted on Facebook, my first chemo treatment had, and here's my story. I went to sleep, I slept, they woke me up, said you're finished, it's time to go home, and I went home. That was it. No drama, no anything. It was almost anticlimactic. You hear these people and they tell you these cancer stories, and mine was nothing like that. Mine was just, it was so stressful. I was so anxious. I got in the bed. They put the needle in, and I went to sleep. They didn't give me anything to put me to sleep, but it's like my brain just went, the way you're going to cope with this is you're going to sleep through it. And I did. And I got woken up and said, right, it's time to go home. We came home, we nipped to a shop so I could buy the snack stuff I wanted. Physical differences. I feel like a pregnant gerbil. My skin, if I can show you, they put a lot of fluid in with chemo, and I mean a lot of fluid in with chemo, and I feel a bit like a marshmallow man. There's just like, it's really, you can feel all the fluid under your skin. It's a very weird kind of feeling. It does disperse, you absorb it, eventually goes into your bladder. Moving around, walking it off apparently helps. Um, in an ideal world, um, I would probably set up to get a massage after chemo to try and, even in my hands, you can feel it in my hands and my fingers, none of my rings fit, to get a massage to try and drain some of that fluid off. Um, in my position, I can't do that because I can't have any oils or creams or anything like that put on my skin, because the next day I'm going for radiation again, where you can't have anything on your skin except it's called QV cream, which is a pH balancing cream and body wash. That's all you can have on your skin. You can't have anything else because it risks burning with the radiation. If I was doing just chemo, then without a doubt I would be making arrangements to have massages to try and take this, like, it's even squidgy here, it's squidgy in my neck, I can feel it behind my ear. I don't have squidgy behind my ears, but I do at the moment. And I wanted to get up and actually share this because these aren't things I was told, these aren't things that people said, oh, you know, this might help. Um, Probably for someone in my position that's going straight into radiation, my spa tub would be the best thing for me. I have a hot tub, but it's winter and it's too cold to get in it. But if you have a spa that you can use, that's probably going to be the best thing, to just put a bit of pressure on your skin to try and drain some of that fluid out. I know it's going to come out, but meanwhile I look like a pregnant gerbil, and um, yeah, apparently I won't look like a pregnant gerbil in 3 days, but I just have to deal with 3 days of looking like a pregnant gerbil. Okay, well, have an awesome day, and I'm off to radiation tomorrow afternoon. Um, and I will let you all know how that goes, because I'm only having radiation tomorrow, no chemo. So it will be interesting to see how I pull up, because ultimately I'd like to be able to go and do the radiation, just drive down, have it done, come back, because currently my daughter is being an absolute superstar in the fact that she's taking me here, there, and everywhere, just because we don't know how I'm going to react. I definitely wouldn't have been safe driving home from chemo today, because I was very disassociated from everything that was going on around me, and I don't think that was the chemo so much as my headspace and the stress I struggle with regard to hospitals because of my childhood. Okay, have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.